Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus Nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 139. I'm your host, as always. I'm Dan, the drawer of the group, I would say, with some epic drawings, as I'll show onto the video podcast. And then we're joined by Samson, who is more of the painter of the group, Samson Van Gogh. How you doing?
I'm just an artist. I'm just an artist.
An artiste.
I can't be limited. Yeah, exactly. Is that how the Brits say it?
An artiste? No. I don't know. It just sounds more, fun. Yeah. So in today's episode, we get a bit of a two-parter because we have a guest on. We had Bill and Steve, who are part of the group who have come out with the game Pencil. When I say come out, it's still in early access. We've spoken about it a couple of times, but for those of you who don't know, it's the app where it uses mixed reality. You put on your headset and let's say you have an object, for example, let's say an apple or a rose, that will project onto your piece of paper where you can trace it. But then also there's tutorials in shading and how to draw specific items, and also perspective. There's a lot going on in this app, and I'm not gonna lie, it's very close to just being on App Lab already, to be honest.
And they built it a month ago at a hackathon in April, and it is the end of May right now,
and they're still going, and they're pumping out updates and such often, and it's very impressive. It's a very impressive app, and you should all download it. But that will be in part 2. We'll talk about it way more, and obviously we'll have Bill and Steve chime in on how the development has gone. But first of all, Samson, let's start off with some housekeeping. What you got to say?
Yeah. I am really glad we were able to pencil them in for an interview. But yes, friends of the show, Shoes and Noble Squashy, have teamed up, and we just wanted to give them a little shout out because Shoes wrote an article and Noble Squashy made a YouTube video about the same subject. It's the 10 best epic roller coasters to ride on the Meta Quest. And the article features a top 10 list of the most thrilling and immersive rides, includes rides for both high-speed excitement and story-rich adventures, demonstrates that there's really something for everyone in this game, and it's actually not a game I've hopped into. I don't think ever. Have you? Yeah, I saw roller coasters, and I was afraid.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Yeah. After reading this article, I might hop into an easy one. We'll see. And the article also contains a link to the Noble Squashy video, and I'll put it in the description below. And yeah. Oh, and Shoes is doing a giveaway for thanking us for giving him this shout out. So come on down to the LTO Discord, and Shoes will be giving away a PC VR game. Not sure which game yet. You'll have to come down to find out.
Yeah, there we go. So thanks Shoes for giving us that heads up about the article as well. Yeah, I've not tried it out just because VR and roller coasters seems like a terrible idea. It's a lot what people do, but I'm like, I don't know if that's my motion sickness. But then I guess maybe a roller coaster game could improve your motion sickness capabilities, of doing it. So I don't know.
A lot of practice.
I don't know.
And need a vignette.
Needing a vignette. But all right, Sam. So let's get straight into what we've been playing. I'm going to start off with a real quick one, just because I don't have much to say on this one. I tried the mixed reality app Hello Dot, which is by the folks who make Pokemon Go and such like that. It's not that good.
Niantic?
Yeah, that's Niantic? It. Yeah, it's not that good. So that's all I got to say.
It's not. It's more of just like an experience, right? There's not much to be done.
Yeah, it's just sort of so I'll give you some more context about it. Essentially, you have this little character. I think it's called Dot, or Polka Dot is the little character. So imagine like a little Pikachu in a way. It's that kind of being, shall we say. And then there's a paint bucket in the middle, so you can grab Polka Dot and put them in the paint bucket so they'll change color. If you hold out your hand, Polka Dot will jump on top of your hand. And then if you point your finger, it will just follow your finger essentially on the ground and run around. And then also if you do like a rocker kind of pose with your hand, a sandwich or a fruit or something just appears in your hand, and then you can toss it to Polka Dot or toss it somewhere else in the ground, and it will go and eat the food and such. That's all
Rock
it.
on.
Like it's free on App Lab. You can just go ahead and download it if you want just to mess around with it. But that's all there is. There's not much else to say about it. There's not much else you can do. It did end up freezing on me, and I was like, okay, that's the end of that. But yeah, that's Hello Dot. That's Hello Dot. Like, try it if you want. It's free, but yeah, it's an App Lab
Sounds
game.
like you were saying bye Dot.
Yes, that's exactly right. These puns, this pun kingdom here with Samson today. But Samson, what have you been playing before I go into the next one?
Yeah, I've been playing quite a bit. I'm gonna save my big one for the last game. I've been playing a little tease there. So I got into some Breachers after taking last week off because I was traveling, and it felt good to get back into Breachers. But boy, this person the only way knows every angle in this game. I swear to God. Breached through the window and then is still outside, shot through the room to knock out our door blocker that was in the other vicinity. I'm just like, this is insane. Or shooting through the walls that you can shoot through, knowing the exact angle from the inside to shoot where you're going to be on the outside. High level breaching is freaking insane. But it's still fun. Sometimes I just grab a shotgun and boo boo. I'm just having fun.
Love it. Love to
win or lose.
Win or lose, and you might learn us something or two from that person, right? So,
yeah, he is. They are willing to teach.
Yeah.
But yeah, another little one. I'm going to sneak this one in. It's called Gamebox Museum.
Okay,
and this is a mixed reality app where. You know how games, you used to buy physical games and they would come in a box, often called a game box. And this app is basically a museum of all game boxes that are in wherever the public domain is that they got them from. It's pretty cool. Cool artwork. You can read them. One issue I found is a lot of the boxes I went to pick up were in not English. So I was pretty limited to just look at the pictures. Because I haven't yet learned Japanese and French and German.
You haven't yet?
Yeah.
Right.
I haven't yet.
Right.
Who knows what might happen tomorrow. But I have not yet. But it is pretty cool if you're interested in or curious to see any old game boxes when you were a kid or your dad was a kid or whatever, however old you are. It's free. And I do believe, much like Pencil, there are, he's he or she is updating it pretty regularly.
It's pretty cool. It's like you have your own collection of those games in a way, right?
Yeah, and you can put them around your room or whatever. I think.
Yeah, and like you could.
Like
I guess you could technically build your own little collection. Like if you had a bunch of digital games like you do nowadays, and you could just add those to your collection, or like you could have. You could go, okay, I'm just going to create a collection where for all of the PlayStation 1 games, all of the PlayStation 3 games, Xbox games that I've played for my whole life. I'm going to go through and load. Can you do that? Or is it...
They might have been all PC. It might have been all PC.
Oh, they're all PC kind of games?
They might have been all PC.
Oh, okay, yeah, hold on. I'm looking into it now. It looks like it's all 90s. Okay, so some of our listeners, this will be great. For me, I think... Quake, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I guess that the only Age of Empires are the three.
Warcraft was for me.
Warcraft was I never went into Warcraft, but I could see that. Did you build?
Please, my lord.
Did you build the models as well? Did you like paint? The models?
No, I never got into those.
No,
I never really even got into many games that were in that style. But for some reason, I remember owning Warcraft 2 and trying to just rediscover all the map or whatever, move your little soldiers, select them. But yeah, I never. What's this? RTS, right?
Yeah.
Is that the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really got into many of them, but I do remember that one. And
Age of Empires was the only one that I kind of got into in terms of like a strategy game. But even then, like they've remastered it so many times, and I've played it on the PC since then, and it's just like it was a time and a place,
There's a lot going on.
you know, and that time has now disappeared for me. But yeah, I can see that maybe, I don't know, when I'm in my 40s or 50s, you can just get back into playing Age of Empires because you know. I'm like, whatever. But yeah, it's a time and a place. But yeah, okay. Maybe not for me, the Gamebox Museum, because I only have 3 PC games that I can put on there. But
it is free. It is free if you just want to, you know,
hop in
and check out a box or two. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
You want to go on to what you've been cleaning?
Oh man, I can't deal with these puns. Powerwash Simulator. So it was funny. So yesterday, I mean, I'm not gonna say yesterday. The last few days, it's been very rainy, stormy in Vancouver. It's not been nice. It feels like it's January, but it's definitely end of May. And even today, as I'm talking, I can see how much rain's bucketing outside. So I was like, you know what? Let's just jump into VR and, you know, let's just see what else we want to play. Now, I could have easily played Vacation Simulator and got more into that. That'd have been great. I didn't want to play a heavy game. I didn't want to play something like Assassin's Creed or anything like that. I wanted to play something more like relaxed. So there's a lot of apps that I have. I have Vermilion. I could have painted something, you know. I have Cubism. No, what did I decide to do? I decided to buy another game. You know, of course I did. You know,
Classic.
Because
I'm rubbing off on you.
It's a Powerwash Simulator. I was never thinking of buying this game, but the only thing that would have ever swayed me was the Back to the Future update, because they had that on the flat screen. And then lo and behold, over the weekend or late last week, they announced and released the Back to the Future DLC on VR. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's buy it. And then Meta's doing like a 30% off right now throughout the month of May. So, you know, I think the code's May 30 or something like that. It's on there.
Not for how many days are in May, but for the 30% off.
For the 30%.
Because there are 31 days in May.
Yeah, correct. So I got it for cheaper. I thought it was going to come with Back to the Future, I'm not going to lie, because the box art had Back to the Future on it. And I know sometimes it comes with the double pack, and I thought it was, but it wasn't, which was a shame. So a few things about this game. One, this might be being a bit too harsh on it, but I always thought the graphics would be slightly better for some reason, just a notch better. Like, it felt like it was some, especially when you're cleaning and such, it felt a bit low poly, and for some reason in my head I thought it was going to be a little bit sharper, but that just might be because of the quest and such. So that's one thing that I noticed. So the first thing in the tutorial, you're cleaning the doghouse and dog bowl and such like that. There's loads of tools. Like, you know, you've got like different nozzles. You've got different cans for like polishing, I think, or such like that. And then you've got the different lengths as well. Like there's loads going on. Like your utility belt is pretty big. It's pretty big. It's very satisfying when you press the power wash button, like when you press the trigger button, because the haptic feedback on the controller is quite strong. So you get, you know, obviously not as strong as if you're using an actual power washer, but it's pretty strong, which is really nice. So yeah, I did the tutorial and such, and I think I did 1 or 2 of the early campaigns, and I was like, okay, there's Back to the Future, and realized that it is an extra $8 or something. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to keep this game, but I really want to try the Back to the Future DLC. So we bought that, and first things first, it's really cool because the set designs are very accurate to what it is. You know, you've got the first one, you're cleaning Doc's van, and you're in the place right at the start of the movie where
the Pine Mall.
Yeah, that's it. You're in the car parking lot, right? And it's dark and such. So you're cleaning this van, and my gosh, did it take ages to clean this van and such. And this is when I realized, Samson, that I don't know if this game's for me. It took a long time to clean. And when I realized that also...
You need a friend.
Yeah, I think you need a buddy with this. So I think also with Power Wash is that you have all these different nozzles and such, but I didn't find like they did too much different with the nozzles. Like, I don't know if I just had to stand further back or something like that, but I felt like they were all very similar. You know, one maybe a little bit smaller, one's bigger and such. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why don't I just use the biggest nozzle and just bang, 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 bang. But I guess that defeats the point of like carefully, getting the idea. I
Well,
understand the
you
concept.
do big ones.
Yeah.
You do big ones, and then you go in smaller and you're smaller.
Yeah.
Is that not the most efficient way?
It
I don't know.
it is,
So I've
yeah,
done it.
it is. But there's only one thing that I really didn't like about the Back to the Future DLC is the fact that there's no music. And it would have been nice if they had like the soundtrack to Back to the Future, if they have the license to have some of that music in the background, or some sort of like.
Just play it on Spotify.
I guess you could. Because I was like, I was weird because it is very quiet. All you could hear was the sound effects, and I was like, maybe I've turned the music off in the settings by mistake or something like that. But no, they just don't have any music, which is a real shame. I'm not sure if the SpongeBob one did.
It's probably expensive.
Yeah, it's probably expensive to have the music, but at least have something like cinematic in there. Maybe something that's not licensed. Maybe it's free, but just have something in the background would have been nice. To have music on, but yeah, I guess you could play it on Spotify. But so yeah, so in the end of the day, I'm not going to lie, I did end up refunding this game in the end of the day. Yeah, it was not for me. I don't think
both the DLC and
you can't refund the DLC. No, so I had to take take the $8 hit on that one. But it took me $8, and I get to talk about it on the pod, I guess. But I can see the appeal of the game, and I understand the appeal. It's just that I think those kind of games where I'm just like mindlessly doing something and such is just not for me.
It's too relaxing.
It's maybe too much, like a puzzle game, like a Cubism and such. That's different, right? And I think if this Powerwash Simulator ended up being more puzzle-like and such, a little bit more in depth, where you had all the different canisters to add like polish and such, and you could see the polish on the metal if you did that. So maybe if you just cleaned, it looks decent, but then having it fully cleaned, like with the proper polish and such, it looks shiny and such, and then there's something to go about. So yeah, for me, yeah, not a game for me. Not a game for me. I didn't think it was ever going to be for me, but the DLC sucked me in. But yeah, but it's pretty cool if you're into that game and you're into the movie Back to the Future. They have a lot of locations. So they've added the Hill Valley Clock Tower. They've added the time train that happens at the end.
I've been there, Dan. It's in Arizona.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Is there an actual clock tower there, and they use that one? Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Also, obviously the time machine, the DeLorean's obviously in there as well that you can clean and such. So there's quite a few movie locations in there, and it is cool to be in that world. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it was more like, okay, I wish I was kind of like maybe playing a game rather than just cleaning your dirty cars and such. So yeah, not for me, but I can see the appeal. I can see the appeal for people who love Powerwash. But yeah. And that's all I've been playing, Samson. I've not been doing much, I'm not going to lie, this week. But back to you.
Right.
Back to you.
Yeah, I've gotten into VR a bit more. So I've continued a bit more of Ultimate Swing Golf. I think I'm up to challenge 25 or 26 now. Just slowly crushing those. I unlocked a new receptionist and a new caddy. So
have you got a new course yet? Because I've actually
no, Dan. No.
I've been playing it too. I just didn't mention it, but I still have I don't know how to unlock a new course.
I imagine it's in the challenge mode. I imagine
that's what I thought,
because that seems to be how you unlock everything.
But you're 25 in now.
You got to do them all.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't have all the clubs either or anything. Like I don't know how high it goes, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it went to 50.
Yeah. I'm surprised that there's not at least one course has been unlocked yet, unless I'm completely missing it. But or maybe I have to play full 18s for both courses, which I don't tend to do. I just play like 9 or 3 or something like that. So maybe that's why I'm missing it. I don't know. I might have to look into that. But anyways, what else you been playing?
I have been playing Synth Riders. Got into some mixed reality again, outdoors, and I played with Fiona from our Discord. We like to get in about an hour or so, at least once a week, as a little workout. It was a good time. Good time.
Nice.
Contractor Showdown. I'm pretty certain it was this week that I won my first game. Dan.
Oh wow, fantastic!
We came in first place.
Nice.
Yeah, I did very little. Thank you to Hack and Pollinator.
That's
But
okay.
I was on the team and I was alive.
You were
when we
supporting.
won.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you stay
Yeah.
alive, that's a big.
I did do some damage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. One or two kills, maybe a graze.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still like pretty overwhelmed. Don't know what the hell's going on
Yeah.
a lot of the time, but it's fun. It's
How
fun.
does
It's
it?
a good
How
time.
does it compare to Population One?
It's just way more like contractors. It's like way
Not
it's
so
more
realistic,
realistic.
yeah. But does it like feel any? Will you prefer Contractor Showdown over Population One just because of the realism?
Prefer I don't know, but and Pop One has their new map coming out too. I believe very shortly. It's just what you're in the mood for. I
Sure.
imagine sometimes I'd be in the mood for Pop One. It's been my Sunday nights. I've been busy lately, so I haven't been. I've been missing my Pop One nights, but I got next week's probably back to a normal weekend for me with no holidays. So hopefully I'm able to get back into Pop One, and at least when they come out with that new map. But it's just different. It's way bigger. It doesn't necessarily feel outside of when you're taking off and you're seeing everybody jump out of the plane. That's when you're like, oh my god, there's a lot of people here. But once I've landed, it feels seeing people wise is pretty similar to, at least it feels similar to me, to Pop One, because the map's just getting smaller and smaller. So you're already, it's trying to confine you, right?
Yeah.
But there are more places, so like where the circle can be drastically different more often than in Pop One. But the guns they all feel very different to me, and I need that laser or the red dot sight in Contractor just for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. Yeah, it's something that I did really want to play. I just forgot about it during the beta. I'm just not a big multiplayer fan. That's the problem. I really like the idea of this, though. I really like the idea of this game, but yeah.
They've been rocking solos mode. I think the last couple weekends, and it seems to be very popular. And they probably going to keep doing that in short bursts at the very least until eventually. I imagine they have a dedicated mode to it.
Yeah.
For folks, I'm more there to hang out with my two other teammates, though. So
is it 3 of you, or can it be 4?
3.
It's 3. Yeah, same as Pop One.
But you can jump in solo and like say don't allow people to join me, but then you are going against teams of 3 as a solo, and you can do 2s as well.
Yeah, it feels like Die Hard. Like if you wanted to just be like that, one against 100. Let's go.
Exactly.
Sweet.
And then some walkabout, did a little walkabout courses, and played. I got a standing game of walkabout with a college roommate and his brother. Once a week, and rock that. It's been a good time.
Nice.
And then Dan, what I've been spending the most time in this week is Paradiddle. I've gotten hooked on drumming. I'm on Facebook Marketplace looking for a drum set now, and I ordered 2 little kicker things that are one came and another one's coming this week, so I don't have to use the grip as my hi-hat and kick drum. And it's incredible. I loaded a bunch of custom songs on there, and it's incredible to me how cool I feel and how good it feels even drumming on easy mode. Because let me tell you, I've done a few mediums after a bunch of easies, and if I just hop into a medium, some of these songs, I'm like, this, I can't do it. I can't. I'm out. There's so much going on, and I have it so it plays the track, but I have the drumming volume on that track all the way down, so I only hear my drums, but I hear everything else. And I'm loving it. It's so much fun. It feels so good drumming.
So on the Quest itself, you can just Bluetooth a pedal, and like for a kick and a hi-hat and such.
Yeah, I don't have Bluetooth pedals. I got a USB pedal.
But is that on PC or is that on the...
Well, I also have the app on PC, so it's my plan to play it on PC and use my USB pedals.
But you can still do it on the Quest
when I try them.
That's so cool. That's really cool. So could you could you have your own like little? Is that what you're looking to buy a drum set? Can you map it at all?
For free, but yeah, you can basically see in the app, you can move the drums around,
Yeah.
but you can also state what's it called? We just talked about it with the pencil people. Anchor.
Okay.
You can
Spatial
anchor
anchor,
those,
yeah.
so you can put them on top of the real ones, so that
Oh,
they're in the
sweet.
exact same
Oh,
place.
that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool. I had no idea, to be honest. I knew the game, but I had no idea it could support that. Like, I thought it would be more like a Smash Drums, but it's more like a piano vision in some sense.
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's both, because the
Both.
way I've been playing, I don't have any drums or anything. I'm playing on all virtual
Yeah.
and using virtual drumsticks,
Hmm.
I believe they're called.
Yeah,
But if you had the real drums, obviously you'd need real drumsticks and then to play. But yeah, it's I'm loving it. I've been
That's
rocking
cool.
Blink 182.
Nice.
Dude, I feel so cool. I tried to film myself and the quest and then combo
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
I did it once, but I'm so bad that I'm just like, it's not even worth editing this like together, because it's just me playing the song terribly and looking like I feel like I'm the like absolute shit.
That's so
But
cool.
yeah, I'm so hooked. This is a great app. I highly recommend it. And is multiplayer, which I haven't hopped into yet, where you can just jam out together. Which sounds pretty cool. I'm not very good at jamming, though. I'm not very good at even following the song Guitar Hero style. So
Yeah, I see.
but
I'm just
it's fun.
looking at their latest update, which was 3 weeks ago. They added custom songs in multiplayer now as well, which is really cool. And then for those musicians listening to the show, it has MIDI input and output as well, which is really cool. So you could just connect it to your. You could also just connect it to your computer, I'm assuming too. So you could do your own. No, you just connect it to
Yeah,
your like
definitely.
electronic drum set and such, and then you can play with those sounds. This looks really cool, and then you can import like sheet music
good
in
one.
there and such, and there's whole lessons, and this is really freaking cool. Wow! So we've got drums now, and we've got piano,
Pencil.
and we got pencil. We honestly, like in the next 2 years, we're all going to be drummers, piano players, and expert drawers, thanks to VR.
I am digging this one more than Piano Vision. I don't know why. It is very similar.
More
I
exciting.
think I just dig drumming more than I do
Yeah, that's fair.
pianoing.
I think drumming is like it's at the start as a beginner, it's probably more fun because you know of the sounds. Where with the piano, you're like ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
You know, like,
It's
you're
just way cooler to be a drummer than a pianist.
I don't know. Some pianists they rip, they shred the piano. Like I've seen
They
I've
do.
seen them. I don't know what they're doing with their hands and such, and it is mad. So yeah. But yeah, that's so cool, and you can load your own songs. You can loop your own loops, shall we say, or little tracks and such.
Yeah,
And
for when you're practicing.
when you this is really freaking cool. Yeah, this is really freaking cool. I'm into this. I'm just looking. I'm like, do I get this too? I don't know.
I think it's $20,
$20,
but with
yeah.
I'm not sure I've used all my referrals, but it's you can get it for 15 with the referral.
Yeah.
And obviously all the custom songs are free.
It's just the fact that you could hook up like physical pedals and such is really freaking cool. That's the one thing. Like when you're playing something like Smash Drums, there's no like the rhythm's a little bit off sometimes because you don't have like that kick pedal in there, and you're kind of just, like,
So
drumming
I've been using the grip, and I honestly the kick pedal. I think I'm going to get overwhelmed having 4 body parts moving at once. Like that's sort of what I struggle with most when there's like 3 notes I'm hitting at once, both hands and the kick drum. Yeah. That's where I start being like, oh god, oh god, and you can't even do that for a half second while drumming. You just lose it.
No.
So I think I'm going to be a lot of time, and I've been using the grip so long. I think already my muscle memory is probably into that as opposed to using a kick. But I'm excited. It's just going to take time and go slow. The thing is that these are already a lot of songs that I listen to over and over and over and over again. So it's the music I'm choosing. I enjoy to listen to.
Makes it easier. Playing along with it is now when you're doing a custom song, does it automatically like map in terms of?
Well, somebody's done all this.
Oh,
So
okay,
I'm
okay.
choosing the custom songs that have easy, medium,
Yeah.
this 4 levels. But some of the custom songs are only top, like, it'd be like when I'm doing Synth Riders,
Yeah.
how some of the
Yeah.
mappers only make a master map.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I ain't.
And I'm assuming, like Synth Riders, you need a PC to download or a computer, basically. You can't just download them directly on the app, I'm assuming.
I believe so,
Yeah,
yes.
that makes sense. I don't think Meta allows that, period, so yeah, okay, fair enough. Wow, that's Paradiddle, fantastic. That sounds really fun, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of got me interested. It's kind of got me interested. My partner will just come back and there'll be a drum set in here, and I'll be like, yeah, so you've been away for a couple of weeks, and
it does feel like Rock Band or like Guitar Hero, to me.
Yeah, it's the physical that's really got me. All right, perfect. I guess the only last thing to really talk about before we round off this part 1, before we get into the interview, is the news. Now, there's not much news. We've talked about Powerwash Simulator, obviously, with the Back to the Future update. The other thing that's not even Quest related, I just wanted to mention it. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but Marvel has a series called What If, which is like alternative stories to the actual like Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's normally like it's cartoon style, so it's actually pretty good when you watch it. But they're releasing an Apple Vision Pro app with it, which is going to be free for a limited time. But it's an hour-long like immersive story, so you kind of interact with the Watcher, who is the main narrator of the What If series, and then he takes you through these different universes, and you do like the Doctor Strange, like, portals with your hand and such. It looks really fun and really cool, and I'm kind of jealous that it's not, because they could have easily brought that over to Quest 3 as well, but I'm assuming with Disney and Apple's relationship, it's exclusive to Vision Pro, and it's
easily for enough money.
Yeah, exactly. That's absolutely true as well. But yeah, I just, if no one's seen this, have a look at the trailer of this. It looks really fun, and I'm sure you'll see videos online once it comes out on May 30th. But yeah, it looks really cool, and
I'm sure all 12 people will enjoy that one.
Yeah, exactly. Also on May 30th, if those are interested, you should have an update for Horizon Workrooms as well, which is a big revamp to it, which it's not really documented exactly what's going to change too much. So we'll see on May 30th, and we'll go from there. And then we'll see this week as well. If you're listening to this on Thursday, we're recording this on Memorial Day in the US, but if there's any news this week, I'm wondering if the Quest Gaming Showcase gets announced this week. If this could be the week. And if it is, we'll talk about it next week.
And there's probably a Sony one, coming around the corner.
Yeah, state of
maybe they're waiting for Sony to announce. Each one's just waiting so that they can
they've already got
supplant the other one.
Footage ready. They're just wait. Yeah.
They're waiting to go.
Excellent. Anything else, Samson? Anything else you got to say?
Just one last thing from the cookie.
Just a lot of scrunching to round off part 1 here.
Round off
the preparation.
3, 4. Dan, you got to embrace the beauty of cultural diversity.
Thank you. Yeah. Very good, very good. All right, that will do for part 1. Like I said, in part 2, we have the interview, and then we'll see you next week for a regular episode of Let's Talk Oculus. So we'll see you then.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part 2, where we're joined by Bill and Steve, 2 of the folks behind the impressive mixed reality app Pencil. Hey guys, welcome to the show. It's nice to have you on. How you doing?
Hi, doing well. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Absolutely. So before we get into questions, can you just briefly describe what Pencil is to any listeners and viewers who don't know
The elevator
what this app
pitch.
is? Yeah, the elevator
Sure.
pitch.
Yeah, the elevator pitch. So Pencil is a mixed reality app that teaches people how to draw. The idea is that you put on your headset and then you have actual physical paper and pencil, and it overlays different tracing guides to be able to get you from steps to step to, I don't know, grow your drawing journey.
Yeah.
I think our goal is that eventually this is kind of like training wheels, where you start tracing and then keep getting better and better. We kind of pull away some of the curtain, and by the end of it, you'll be able to take off your headset and draw just as well without it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm coming from. I mean, we've talked about this app on the podcast for the last maybe 2 or 3 episodes since we found out about it, and I've said that I can't draw to save my life. I just even that first tutorial. I mean, the first tutorial drawing the Leo character, which we'll get into, but the first like proper one is the apple, and even that, just to draw that first outline of that circle, it was just not good. I remember when I took the headset off just to look at the actual circle itself, and yeah, training wheels is definitely what it is, and it's nice that you have like a few tutorials in there already, and you've got some easy and hard ones in there. Are you two any of you drawers yourself? Like, do you have a drawing background?
That's why I built this app, so I can teach myself. But no, I am a very amateur artist. I like to do some digital art on the side, but really most of my skills are code based on the computer.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Bill, you can.
I also, I do a lot of code related art, so like shader work and things like that in video games, and I always have like ideas of art in my head, and then when I try to put them on paper, they don't quite come out like I intend. So yeah, this was kind of a vision to be able to give ourselves training wheels.
Yeah. But one member on our team, Tani Jem, she is an amazing artist. She was the art director for Pillow, which is another mixed reality app out there, and she's the person that's creating all the lessons for us and making sure that we're like teaching the right concepts and everything. She's classically trained, excellent artist.
Okay.
Shout out to Tani.
So you built this app for yourselves pretty much, and then now you're distributing it to the world. Like, what was how did this app even begin? Like, what I read of when I was doing some research, it was from a hackathon. Is that like a little project, or did it start before then?
Yeah, it started actually a decent while ago. I want to say I had kind of this concept in my head like back in October of last year, and maybe even before that, possibly. And prior to this, I had competed in another Meta hackathon that Meta hosted, and ended up winning that one with a game called Submersed. And me and Gabriel, who was on the team there, I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I have this idea for the next hackathon. We should kind of work together. And little did I know, Gabriel's co-founder on his other project, Bill over here, had a very similar idea and reached out to him. I was like, hey, we should work on this on the next hackathon. So we all kind of met at the same time and had very similar ideas. And from there, I think this was like December of last year, and kind of just had the idea in the back of our heads. Hadn't really worked on it, but just kind of contemplating what we're going to do. And then I guess this was March, right? Or April?
April was the actual hackathon.
Yeah, April. Came to the hackathon, ended up winning the hackathon, and we're here now. Yeah.
Have they banned you from all future hackathons now that you've won twice?
I haven't heard anything quite yet, but we'll see.
No.
Yeah, the hackathon was only a month ago, Steve. I like it was late April, so we've really hit the ground running since then. But Yeah, we didn't do much. We just kind of talked before the hackathon and then at it
And put it
started
together.
working on it, and it felt like a pretty promising idea, and said let's keep working on it.
I've noticed you've been pretty consistent with the updates, even in the last 3 weeks that I've tried it. It's been updated 2 or 3 times, I think.
Yeah, we've got there's a rose now in there as well. Like there's a few extra models that weren't in there when I mean we heard about it from the Upload VR article that posted earlier this month, and that's when we all downloaded. Even there's a lot of members in the Discord who also downloaded it and had a great time, and they were like, "Wow, where did this app come from?" And I actually just wanted to say like there's. In VR, I mean, I'm sure you've had them, and definitely me and Samson have had them. There's a lot of wow moments that you can have, like with when you first try VR, when the clarity gets better, when you're first in like a PC VR environment, and also we've had some wow moments of mixed reality, with what Meta's been doing. But this app really is a wow moment for me. When I put the headset on, I had a small little piece of paper. I'm showing this paper to the screen here on the video watchers. I don't even know what size this is, but it still just worked. It just overlaid, it just worked. And I'm not sure if it was intending to work on such a small piece of paper like that, but it just worked. And the fact that I was drawing and it just kept the trace, the outline and such was so accurate, like on the actual page itself. Like it didn't move about. Obviously it moved if I moved the controller, which we'll get into, but it was fairly accurate on there, and it was very, very impressive to me. It was very impressive, and the fact that you guys kind of just came up with this and kind of put it together over the space of a few months or something to that hackathon is mental to me, because it looks really, really well done. And I would think like this is still in early access, right? It's not even on the App Lab properly, right? Because you have to go through your Discord. Like what is needed for this app to bring it to App Lab? Like when you're like, okay, yeah, this is done from early access and I can now bring it to App Lab at least. Like what is missing right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's polish and content, right? I mean, we've got a handful of lessons, and we want to have more working out there's kind of 2 modes in the app. There's the lesson mode, and then there's the free draw mode where you can set up your own stage and set up your own composition, and then have training wheels or not to help you draw that. And there's just a lot of little things to do that, but we are hoping to move quickly on it for sure. Steve, did you have something to add to that?
No, yeah, I think the app is gonna always be updating in the background and small little improvements. I think our latest update was essentially an overhaul of all the like buttons and UI and everything, making sure that like it feels good, and that's really our goal, is making sure that it's a very polished app and that people want to try it.
Speaking to the UI, I love the buttons like they're just on the table, so you feel the haptics of pushing those buttons. It's incredible. It makes me want more mixed reality experiences where I'm sitting at a table and doing something. It's kind of like the piano vision, how you feel if you don't have a real piano and you set it up on the table. I really like that UI. How did you? I'm sure you went through many UIs. Like, how did you come up with that as opposed to something in the air?
Yeah, I think when I first had the concept, I knew that like you're gonna have to draw on a table one way or the other. So having that as a source for haptics, I thought was always great. I think my inspiration there, if you're not familiar, there's a game called Laser Dance that's coming out later this year.
Yeah,
it's a Cubism guy, right?
Cubism, yeah, Thomas Van Baal. He in his game, you're supposed to tap the walls and actually like have that haptic feedback, and that unlocked something in my brain when I tried it for the first time. And this was like before the previous hackathon, because Submersed had a very similar concept where your room is flooding in. You're supposed to smack band-aids on the wall to make sure water doesn't flood into your space.
Yeah.
But just love the idea of actually using your space, and was perfect fit for pencil.
Yeah, just even with the opacity slider and such, just something. It's still, I think, I don't know if it's just because mixed reality is so just new still to a lot of consumers, but there's something magical that you could just do that in midair, and you could just do that on the table and such. And there will be a time, I'm sure, like maybe in 2 or 3 years, when it becomes more and more of the norm. Like, yeah, that's just I put on my glasses and it makes sense. But right now, it's still very magical just to see the sliders working and the hand tracking. Just you don't use too much hand tracking. It's not really needed in this game, obviously, but it just works. It just works just as intended, which is the magical part of it. So yeah, it's very impressive. Now, can we let's talk about Leo for a quick second. Leo is your mascot and the first character that you draw. Yeah. Oh, Samson, yours look very
Version
different to mine.
1.
I guess you got version 1. I got version 2. I did this.
Oh
one
yeah,
last
you're
night.
right. You're right. Wow, I didn't even notice the arms were different.
Yeah, and then I think we've got in the newest update. I think it only just came out like a week ago, but now you've got Leo just animating as well and talking to you as you're there and such.
I like it.
Who designed Leo? Was this like just an outsourced person, or was it the same person who does the lessons as well?
So the version 1, that was actually me. That was my one and only
nice.
art contribution to the app.
That's very good. It's very good.
Oh, thank you. Like when we first had the idea, I had this mental image of essentially Leonardo da Vinci going along your side, trying to teach you how to draw, and then Tani came in and was like, I know how to make this 10 times better. So that's what she did. And I think version 2 looks amazing. And now we have it like actually talk to you and all the animations there.
It's like a little Leo Clippy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, I love the intro of just drawing Leo is such a great intro to start people in, because obviously you're tracing, but then that just gets you used to just tracing with a headset on. Like it seems like, oh yeah, so simple, where you put your headset on and you start drawing and such, but you're looking through camera lenses to do this and such, and it's very impressive of how like it just works. Once again, it's one of those things that because it's so simple, it's testament to how good it is of how it just works by putting this on. And like with how has it been working in mixed reality? Like did you find any what shall we say, like did you have to use any workarounds from any ideas that you've had so far, or has it been working well with the mixed reality so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think even at the hackathon, there are different things that we wanted to try and build out that we were just kind of limited by the hardware. One of the main things is that Meta doesn't provide the camera feed to us developers, where, I think something like this app could make a lot of sense where, you can take a picture of your drawing and we can tell you direct feedback of what is improved, or even just track the paper without the need of the controller. But as a whole, I feel like mixed reality, like Meta's done a really good job of giving the tools to developers to build out really compelling ideas, and I think it's just going to get better and better, and we'll see even more growth in the space.
Yeah, I would say.
Oh god,
I would say the. Like you guys were talking a lot about, it just works, and there's a lot of things that just kind of feel right, and a lot of that is like the Quest 3 and being in this, like we've kind of hit a good moment in the VR hardware, and the fact that there's hand tracking and controller tracking, all these sorts of different technical pieces. As for things that kind of went wrong, it's definitely it's clear that Meta's hand tracking was not trained with people holding a pencil. Because as soon as you're holding a pencil, the hand tracking gets a little wonky at times. But so that's been kind of a challenge to make sure people can still interact with all the buttons, people can still do everything they want to do. But I think for the most part, we've got it working. I mean, there really is a good tech stack that we're able to build on top of.
Nice. I can't think of another app that uses, because you're tracking both hands and at least one of the controllers at the same time. And usually it's one or the other, right? Was that? Yeah. How? Like,
yeah.
Did you have to do a workaround, or like is that?
That's
just
a feature that Meta put in their SDK like 2 months ago, 4 months
Yeah.
ago, something. I mean,
gotcha.
it's very, very recent. We just like the if the hackathon that we went to had been 4 months earlier, then our design would have been significantly different because
It
we
just wouldn't
happened
work.
to have-
Wow.
Right,
Yeah.
because you've got, so for those of you who don't know, who've not tried it yet, you put your left controller at the top of the page, and that kind of determines exactly where the paper is. And if you move that, that will move the drawing and such. It's kind of the same as like when you're doing your Guardian, you have to like touch the controller to the floor to get the floor level, and just having that controller kind of gives you that floor level. Did it work like when you didn't have camera access? Was that a big deal? Like, did you know that you could potentially use the controller, or did that take a while to kind of figure out that the controller would be useful?
When I first had the idea, the controller didn't really pop into my head, and then Meta came out with this new feature of you can track both, and thought about it for a second. Oh, you could actually put it on your paper and track the paper that way. And then now we're seeing that people are having issues with the controller where like whenever you move it, maybe it slightly wiggles a bit. So I think the next thing that we're going to be exploring is potentially even removing the controller and figuring out ways to make it not as necessary. But I think the controller does solve a lot of issues too.
Yeah, I wonder if you could, when you put I don't know, I'm not obviously a developer, but I'm wondering.
He did stay at a Holiday Inn Express, though.
It's not a holiday. It was a JW Marriott. Thank you very much. I would just, this is me just without developer knowledge here, but I'm assuming there potentially might be a way of having the left controller there, but then fixing that position. Or is there a way to like fix that position once you put the controller in, or is there a way in the SDK?
There's two kind of concepts. There's the idea of like a spatial anchor within the SDK that is able to track a specific position.
Right.
I think the issue with the anchors is that it's not necessarily like 100% accurate all the time. It might have like a millimeter of imprecision or something, which for us we really need as exact as you want it to be. But that being said, I think we can always make it where it's static and doesn't actually track the piece of paper, and it's just a still image, and then have the player just move the page in the right spot if it ever moves offline.
Got it.
What's been the biggest challenge coding this game, or for y'all?
The pencil rejection seems kind of hard. Like Bill, how did that work when you realized that with hand tracking and you're also holding a pencil? Like, did you do anything to kind of reject the pencil when reject the hand tracking when someone was holding an object?
Not exactly. We've had to kind of abandon the like normal UI system and basically build our own.
Right.
And normally like in VR, when things are floating in front of you, everybody takes their finger and pokes. Mm-hmm. But when it's on a desk, people start using their middle finger to try to poke things. Like they're using fingers, and Meta's like, you can't use anything but your pointer finger. So we've had to add in support for other fingers and things like that, which it's still a little bit off because sometimes your hand will be flat and Meta will think you're doing this or whatever's going on. But we've had to largely write our own kind of interaction system to work around that. Fair enough. Otherwise, I don't know, Steve, if there's anything else that comes to mind as far as like a big technical hurdle.
Not really. I mean, at its core, I feel like the concept, like you said, it's a very simple concept, and that gives us a lot of space to really make sure that it's well made. And I think that's really the main challenge is kind of the design philosophy for everything and making sure that it's all solid.
Got it. How's the community feedback been so far? Like now that you've got it open to Discord, I see that there's a lot of members in there as well, posting their Leos and all their roses and such like that. Like how's that how's that felt first? Of something that's just come out of hackathon, and how has the feedback been so far?
It's been encouraging. It's been amazing seeing people create different stuff that them like admitting they're not artists or drawers, and then coming out with this beautiful masterpiece of a rose or a guitar, or stuff that people couldn't really do. It's almost a superpower of sorts. So that's been super encouraging, and I don't know, if people sharing on social media as well has been, I think one of the greatest sources of why we have such a large community, and that's just going to help us build up the app even better and getting even more feedback.
Absolutely. I think there's one thing that I love about this app is the free play mode, where you have like a bunch of models, and you can, for those of you who don't know, in free play you set your page up like you would, but on the left you've got bunch of models like on shelving essentially, so you can like pick the apple, pick the rose, and such. But there's also other models in there. There looks like there's a full-on mech character in there as well, and there's a skull, for example. And I love the fact that you can just grab it, put it on your little platform in front of you, and then the outline or the shadow or such just appears on your page. Once again, like magic. This feels like an Apple app of like magic. It just works, kind of thing. But yeah, I love the fact that you have that idea of where you can just bring models in. Have you? I don't know if this is possible, but have you looked at the potential option of people like importing their own 3D models? Because I see an R2D2 behind you, Steve, and I'd love to draw one of those.
Yeah. No, we've definitely explored it, and I think we're going to be exploring it more. Yeah, I think the ability to import your own models is definitely very compelling, or even like your own images as well. Being able to like bring in a portrait of yourself and actually trace it out, I think that would be a lot of fun. I think it'll probably take some time to make sure to get it right. One of the hurdles there is, I guess, the user flow of like, sure, you're in this headset, but how do I actually get these models onto the headset? Do I have to plug it into the computer? Do I have to upload it from my phone? Making sure that like it's as seamless as possible. And ideally, you don't have to take off the headset at all. You can just do it magically, like you said. Yeah.
You mentioned a phone. I saw some people use tablet, like an iPad or something, and it works pretty well. Have you considered like having a 2D, like an iOS app or something that connects to it, so that when you're using like a stylus or an Apple Pencil, it really does know like they're connected in a way? Like, could that help? Could that be a thing? Yeah.
Potentially, yeah. At the hackathon, I kind of joked with Bill that, hey, we should add a mobile app like within the 2 or 3 days that we're building out this whole thing, which realistically didn't have the time for. But the idea would be that you can hook up your phone and then have live access to the camera, so that you can just like prop it up and do like a self-portrait or whatever. But yeah, I think there's plenty of space for that. I do know there are other apps on the App Store that do kind of similar things to us, with like tracing with your phone, and you can kind of overlay it on your page. I don't know. For me, I think the headset actually unlocks the ability, so you don't actually have to have this awkward thing in your hand. But
yeah, I was more thinking like drawing on the like iPad or whatever itself.
So that we could know what the user's drawing.
Exactly.
I see.
Judge them or rate them. We've definitely talked about that too. Either drawing on the an iPad or something like that. But then there's also some people I think working on various. There's some third parties that are working on kind of new controllers that could pair with the Quest, that are pencil shaped, or other kinds of controllers and different things that could be tracking. And there's also ways we could potentially explore, like having a mobile app that, like Steve said, maybe it's looking at you, but maybe it's got a camera feed of your paper, and somehow magicked can connect everything. But yeah, there's a lot of kind of paths we go down. Sometimes our kind of team meetings get a little off the rails because we get a little excited
I can
and
imagine.
think, oh, wouldn't it
No
be
bad
cool if we did
ideas.
this? And yeah, it's like, hold on, everybody, we're a month into this. Like, let's,
Yeah.
uh, calm
There's a
down
lot. There's
little
a lot of potential here. Like you can do quite a lot, and just going off that mobile app, like you were thinking a seamless way of bringing 3D models. Like if someone has it on their phone, maybe that could sync it over to the headset without you needing to plug the headset in. I think a lot of people find it easier working with their phones than the VR headset. And I think with a VR headset, you have to enable developer mode to get it to plug in and such like that. There's a lot of hurdles there. But yeah, there's a lot of, I can see that in your team meetings. There's a lot of, even me just playing it over the weekend, I was just like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this. It's like, yeah, you could get out of hand, and it's like, you just need that minimum valuable product before just to push it out there, and then just keep improving it as feedback goes. But that must be really exciting to you, just to having like there's lots of endless possibilities, but also there's a lot of demand there from your like Discord community and such, which must be very excited to see, right?
It is very exciting, and I'll say the Discord feedback, I think, for like, there's been a lot of great feedback from the users, and so far none of it has been like something that would take 6 months. Like no one said, hey, this would be great if you spend 6 more months on it. It's like small ideas, and we can take them and be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, we can run with it and we can implement that. And
I'm waiting till someone recommends adding multiplayer to the game, and then that's going to be a whole
I can't believe that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
I guess they want their like the Vermilion experience, right, with the painting app, and just having that as just like, yeah, instead of painting in VR, now let me draw in VR, but actually real life drawing. So just adds all these extra layers on complexities. But yeah, multiplayer coming soon. Then I'm assuming. So with the tutorials that you've got out and such, like what. What's the idea with the tutorials in terms of the direction you're heading? Like, are there just a bunch of are you making like building blocks right now in terms of like imagining someone's a complete beginner to drawing and then just keep building on that, or are you starting to put like just random tutorials in where it's like, oh, okay, maybe it'd be good for them to learn how to do like perspective drawing, for example. I see that you've added that in.
There's a lot of coming soon.
Yeah. There's a lot of like, how does the tutorial selection work? Like, is there a path that you're following, or how?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're really just in an exploring phase of seeing what people actually want to draw and kind of what makes it a compelling app to them.
Right.
I think for us right now, our direction is that we'll have essentially packs of lessons that people can go along, and then we'd have kind of like your concepts pack that teaches you all the fundamentals of drawing, and then from there we can go off and do animals or fruit or flowers or whatever other kind of lesson that people want to learn.
Yeah, one of the big things we want to figure out with that is, does somebody want a pack that is all easy basic animals, or all intermediate animals, or all advanced animals, or does somebody want a pack that walks them from beginner to advanced, that kind of does that stair step? And we don't know yet. So we're going to kind of explore like what that looks like and what people enjoy, and adapt as we go.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Do either of you have kids by any chance? Oh, yeah,
I do. Yeah.
Are they old enough to try this app?
Yes.
Right?
So they've used it a little bit. Well, when I first told my daughter's 12, and I first told her about it, and she's like, "Oh, I can draw that. I don't need your app." Great. Okay. Well, let's try it anyway. But no, they've enjoyed it, and initially one of the early thoughts I had for this was almost more like a coloring book, targeting kind of younger kids. And I think right now, partly because, looking at who owns headsets, and like a 5-year-old can't necessarily have a Quest 3 on their head without their head falling over, right?
Yeah,
the tech might not be quite there yet, but so my kids are 12 and 16, and so yeah, they're at kind of a perfect age to be trying this out, and it's good to have the kind of in-home market, in-home testers.
Do they influence any tutorials at all, or do you keep them away? They're just
Not
they're the QAs.
not right now. They're just the QAs. I think we'll get there. Well, actually, my daughter has multiple times requested anime. She wants
Yeah, that's
anime
fair.
characters to draw. So
makes sense, yeah.
eventually, we'll probably have some of those in there.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this app gets big enough where you can start doing some licensing deals with specific 3D models and drawing. I think I was playing what was it called, Powerwash Simulator with the Back to the Future update over the weekend, and I was like, okay, they have this license, but I was just constantly thinking about the pencil app. I was like, what if I could draw the Delorean and just have that kind of thing? That'd be cool. I think obviously that'll be way out, and seeing how this app does and such. But that's definitely a cool milestone kind of thing, just to bring some of your favorite IP into there that people can draw that. That'd be really fun, like really really fun to do. So that's my suggestion.
Yeah, that
What
definitely
types of-
be a great dream to get to that point.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
What do y'all like play games or VR in your free time? And if so, like, what types of games do you like to play?
Yeah, I don't have as much time as I'd like to, just given all the other stuff I'm working on. But I don't know. I recently got the re-release of Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door, and been playing that for the
Nice.
last 3 or 4 days, and that's been fun. I don't know. I'm a Nintendo fan at heart, so
Yeah.
a lot of Nintendo stuff. And then VR wise, big fan of Cubism and Laser Dance and all the kind of like smaller games, not as much the shooters, but more like personal. Like We Are One is another great game. Yeah, just
Yeah.
all that
Steve, I
jazz.
didn't know you were a Mario fan. I love Mario games. I've played every single Mario game. I have not finished any Mario game because you get to the point where it's like, oh, you got to go find this like weird thing and jump. I mean, the last stars or whatever are always impossible. But
Yeah.
for games in general, I just finished Prince of Persia, the new Prince of Persia game. That was a lot of fun.
That was really fun. I'm still playing that at the moment, and it's so much
Okay.
fun with the 2D. It's so good. It's so beautiful too to play
Yes,
that game.
it's a beautiful game.
Yeah.
I love Metroidvania games, but they have a lot of like they've kind of done some things that help that genre be a little bit easier to play and a little bit more approachable, I think. And then on VR, similar to Steve, I like the smaller games. Cubism is probably one of my favorites. I generally don't do the kind of bigger shooter things, but I mean, I loved Half-Life Alyx. Like that's always the game that I go, I'll play something else and be like, is this as good as Alyx? Should I just go replay Alyx?
Right.
That's a hard bar right there. The bar is so high.
Yeah.
I think there's only few that get close to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
5 years soon.
Yeah. When did that come out? 2018?
2019.
2019.
I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
mad.
pretty certain.
I played it on Link on my Quest 1, so that's a while ago.
Yeah, that is a while ago. Damn, that's crazy. With the pencil app, obviously, I think you're focused on Quest 3 right now, which is great.
2020.
But have you had any thoughts of potentially having this on Apple Vision Pro as well? It seems fit for a market like that too. But that actually depends on the SDK and what they allow you to use as well, I guess, because they don't have a controller for you to map out.
They don't. No. I think maybe down the line, we're definitely focused on kind of the Quest platform for now, and kind of seeing how it does here, and then based off of that, if it does well enough, then who knows? Could port it to Apple or Pico or whatever other headset.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And Bill, you said you were also working on something just before this, right? As well. Like, what was that app? Did it come out on VR or?
Yeah, the other app I've been working on for a while is called Polysketch VR, which is it's on App Lab. It's basically 3D modeling in VR. So it's totally VR, not mixed reality. I mean, you can turn on pass through to see the world, but functionally you're basically making really low poly 3D models. So it's very, very simple. You draw lines and you connect them, and now you have a square, and you can kind of, extrude it out and make a cube. And it's really meant to be sort of sketching in 3D, but one of the intents of it is that it would be all assets that could be used later, like in a game, like kind of the very like,
or in a drawing app,
yes. But basically, like if you draw something in in most of the other kind of VR drawing things and then save it as a model, the model you end up with is like really high poly and really complex, and trying to like import that and use it in other spaces can be a little bit tricky. So ours is sort of intended to be like you need to rough something together to, you're working on a game, or you're working on some piece of art you want to make, and you want a rough layout. That's kind of the idea of it. But,
and I'm assuming you can export this as well once you create it and use it in maybe a Unity app or Blender or something like that you want to play around with. Because I'm just looking at the trailer as we're speaking. I'll put it up for the video watchers here, and it does look like a lot of those assets that people are making in that trailer look very familiar to assets that I've seen in different VR games and such. As that kind of low poly-esque, and it's kind of a charm to those kind of assets too. It's like what Walkabout Mini Golf was until they've really blown up in terms of how much detail they put in their assets nowadays. But yeah, I can see this and Pencil working hand in hand in the future potentially. There you go. That's the way you instead of you're thinking about how to bring 3D apps into here. You make it yourself first, and then you bring it import it into Pencil.
Yeah, and then you can draw it.
I was thinking drawing some roller coasters too,
There you go, yeah. Having roller coasters going over your pencil drawing.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect, fantastic. So that's everything I wanted to ask you guys. I'm not gonna lie, I really like this app, and my partner, she's away for a couple of weeks, but I sent her the picture of Leo, and I've got my Apple. I don't have my Apple somewhere
That's
else.
why you've been playing so much VR.
Yeah, it's just and then even she's like, oh my gosh, because she's a drawer. She bought an iPad recently as well, and then draws on that constantly. And she's, oh my gosh, I got to try this app as well, because she doesn't she likes to draw, but she doesn't do much in like shading or perspective drawing or anything like that. And there's like little tools in there that you can use, and I like the fact that it's got a basic and an advanced mode as well. So there's like a bit of a step that you can kind of follow. So yeah, I think this app is really cool. And I think for everyone listening and watching, you've heard us mention it many times over the last couple podcasts, but definitely give it a go. It's totally free to give it a go. I'll put the Discord link in the description so people can just sign up and join the Discord as well, and then obviously provide a bunch of feedback to you guys as well. So no, thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for making a great app. And I can't wait to see what this looks like maybe at the end of the year, because it seems like it's moving quickly.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. If you do have any feedback for Pencil or anything like that, like I said, just head over to their Discord. I know you've posted some stuff in our Discord as well, but go ahead and post it in their Discord. And then we will see you next week for another episode of Let's Talk Oculus.